Hi guys, welcome to the 2v2 matchup between the 2v2 Pro League matchup between OGN and STX. We've got July starting up here at the 11 o'clock position playing Zerg in blue. We've got his ally from STX BestGod in orange playing Protoss at the 2 o'clock position. We've got yellow arnc, thankfully in yellow at the 5 o'clock position, and his ally Zeus playing Protoss in brown at the 8 o'clock position. So, excuse me, essentially we've got STX at the top of the map and OGN at the bottom of the map. This is going to be an interesting matchup. I meant to tell you guys before Game 1 and Game 2, so I'm going to say it now because I finally remembered. Please go and check out the excellent write-up by Akun and Backho on the SC2GG website about this Pro League matchup. An excellent preview, and I'm sure we'll be having another excellent write-up preview for the MSL Finals. So even if you haven't read the preview for this, I would check out the preview for the MSL Finals. It's going to be great. Those writers are seriously talented and they really do their research, and you can learn a lot just by reading it about the match beforehand. So if you're looking to psych yourself up, hype yourself out, check that out definitely. I always try to read it before I go, so mad props to those guys. Also wanted to give a big up to Basie, who provides the VODs for us to be allowed to allow us to do these commentaries and to record them and upload them. So huge credit to Basie. And he obviously uploads all of his Korean VODs on the John747 account on YouTube, so do check that out as well if you're looking for the Korean original VODs and not interested in listening to me harp on endlessly. Anyway, I'm excited about this matchup. I have got to tell you guys that it's been a long time since I've seen a 2v2. Looks like Zeus is just going to get his probe scout into July's base. It'll be interesting to see what sort of strategy these guys go for. I have never ever seen a match before on this map, Hannibal, and here I am commentating on the playoffs. It should have been Mole Trap and Diggity, but unfortunately you guys are stuck with me. It's also been a very long time, if you can remember, since I've done a 2v2. I can't remember the last time I did a 2v2. It's at least 3 months ago, if not more. And this is the first 2v2 I've actually watched even for a season and a half. So it's been a long time, guys, and I apologize beforehand for the rusty from commentary. Looks like July's gone for a spawning pool. Both Protoss players putting down 2 gateways each. July looks like he's gone for a spawning pool first. I think Yellow put down his hatchery first. We're seeing a slight divergence in strategy. It'll be interesting to see whether July decides to get speed upgrade Zerglings and go for some sort of fast attack rush with his teammate, or whether he's going to try and get that fast tech up and try and get those Mutalisks out quickly. Obviously, the longer the game goes on, there will be a slight advantage, and it's going to be down. And July straight away minding the gas, putting down his second hatchery. The probe from Zeus obviously will have seen that, and looks like meanwhile Zeus sending his BestGod sending his probe down to scout arnc's base at the bottom, at the 5 o'clock position of the map. So he's getting his probe in. He's seen obviously the extractor go down slightly slower, so July and BestGod will know that arnc has gone for the hatchery first, and that probe just being ushered away now by a drone. Zeus has got a probe out on his ramp already, now putting the cybernetics core down, and July has obviously got his overlord over Zeus's base, so he can see what he's doing. Yellow, meanwhile, has got his overlord over arnc's base, so both teams having decent scouting information. July taking up to lair, so it looks like he's not going for the speedling upgrade, he's straight away taking to lair. It'll be interesting to see whether arnc produces a couple of Zerglings. I don't think July's produced any Zerglings. This is obviously the advantage of using teamwork in 2v2. BestGod sending a Zealot up to July's base, so BestGod allowing July by putting his Zealot, and that's why you see the 2-gate strategy obviously, because you defend your teammate's ramp with the Zealots. arnc obviously not getting that defense, so arnc producing a couple of Zerglings to start with. Cybernetics core just now going up for Zeus, and I think the Cybernetics core hasn't yet been started for BestGod, so that's the strategy that BestGod and July have gone for. BestGod obviously focusing on getting those Zealots out earlier on, and looks like they're going to be forced to put on the defensive early on, but obviously if they get the Mutalisks out first, that will give them a huge advantage, though Zeus does have the Cybernetics core up. So July's got his lair up, he's going to get the Spire going up soon, and that's obviously a strategy that's enabled by this map with the 2 gases within the main, and that's what allows July to be able to do this, because he's got the 2 gases in the main. BestGod just continue to pump up the Zealots. July's base is going to be the most vulnerable early on, and it's a question of whether or not those Zealots are going to be able to hold the defense. There's 2 Zealots up on that ramp from BestGod, and a very clever choice of strategy by the STX team. July also putting up a Sunken down now to back that up. So BestGod and July have really maxed out the teamwork on this. Their opponent's going for the push, and now obviously the problem for BestGod and July is that they are locked into that base until the Mutalisks come out. We're probably going to see Goons going up, Stargate up already, so Stargate and Forge going up for Zeus, so he's obviously aware of what July's up to. He's aware that July's going to have those Mutalisks out, so he's going to have the Corsairs to try and counter, and meanwhile you would have to give a slight advantage possibly to OGN, because they are coping very well. Photon Cannon going down now by I think that's possibly, is that BestGod? I can't even tell with the colors. I think those Photon Cannons are actually brown, so I think Photon Cannons are going down for Zeus. So Zeus now planting, really locking BestGod into his base, and looks like OGN might be at a huge advantage. Now the Dragoon out as well already for Zeus, and he's got a Corsair out. So July is going to be in a little bit of trouble here. Spire only now coming out. He's going to lose at least one overlord because they've got no air defense. And initially I thought this was a clever strategy by the STX team, but I'm not so sure anymore because July is going to lose that first overlord. He's going to obviously have the Mutalisk out, but his Zealots are getting hammered away by those photon cannons and by the Dragoon, making it difficult for him to defend his ramp. He's got a lot of Zealots out, but how is he going to be able to support July's Mutalisk with his own ground forces because he's essentially locked in, so you've got to give the advantage. Shield battery also up in BestGod's base, so you've got to give the advantage. Now the Mutalisk come out. This is going to be the critical part here. July immediately going for the overlord just out of his base to try and counter the fact that he lost one of his own overlords to that Corsair, which is now run away. But what are July and BestGod going to be able to do? They're going to have to try and make some sort of attack at the front core. Second Stargate going up for Zeus. He's defended adequately. He's got a photon cannon. He's got 3 Corsairs waiting as well. July could really have used a couple of Scourges there, but obviously with the 2 hatcheries, he's produced the 6 Mutalisk. Now a Dragoon finally popping out for BestGod. He's got the advantage height of the ramp, so he's able to usher that Dragoon away. Air defense also up for Yarnak. He's got a single Spore up, and I think maybe July would almost be better off trying to hurt his economy. But really, you've got to give the advantage to OGN in this game because excuse me, the STX team are a little bit landlocked right now, and those photon cannons really holding up. BestGod trying to break through that ground defense, picking off one of the Zealots blocking his ramp, but the Zerglings are there to back them up as well, and really BestGod is really going to struggle, not able to break through. July is now bringing the Mutalisk in. Really, I believe he should have brought the Mutalisk in earlier because the Mutalisk would have been able to, with the help of the Zealots and the Dragoons, break through that defense. Now Scourge is coming in from July. He's managed to intercept 2 of the Corsairs, trying to intercept the 3rd. Great by July, using the Scourges as a shield to protect his Mutalisk while he harasses that blockade that's been set up. Another Corsair gets taken out, and now BestGod and July trying to break this defense. One of the photon cannons, 2 of the photon cannons go down, 3rd photon cannon going down. Meanwhile, Corsairs coming in. Zerglings trying to keep the Zealots at bay. July trying to bring those Corsairs within range of the Dragoons to try and get Dragoon support from BestGod. Great teamwork again, and looks like July and BestGod are going to be able to break this defense. 1 Corsair fighting the Mutalisk. July, the photon cannons are all down. 3rd photon cannon just not warping, but they've now broken through. July and BestGod have broken through the defense, through the blockade set up outside BestGod's base. Great play by these 2 players, and now they're going to be in a prime position because they've got a massive ground force, and unfortunately for their opponents, OGN have not got nearly a sizable ground force because BestGod has got loads of Dragoons and Zealots, and unfortunately Zeus focused all of his resources on producing those Corsairs, which have also been taken out, and July with some excellent Scourge micro, whittling down his opponent's Corsairs before teaming up. So great team tactic. This has really been a crazy game of StarCraft, and I've got to say a very exciting 2v2 game. Now July pushing in with the Mutalisk, despite the fact that his opponent's got 3 Corsairs. He's not worried about bunching up too much because he's got Dragoons coming in to support him. They're just trying to come in and get that attack in play before those photon cannons come up, and now those Dragoons are in. 4 probes coming out for BestGod, but it's not going to be enough. Mutalisk coming out for BestGod as well, but July is going to be able to provide air support. July concentrating on the Zerglings, the Corsairs focusing on the Mutalisk. Obviously, July losing a lot of his Mutalisk, and looks like they might just be able to hold the defense here. Some of the Mutalisk taking a massive pounding from the Dragoons, and it's down to Yarnak really to defend his opponent, defend his teammate's base, and it looks like he just might be able to do that. And I think BestGod might be wise to just pull back for a second here. Zerglings and Mutalisk coming in. He's got Zealots still alive. Those Zealots are carelessly being drawn into the photon cannons. I think he'd be much better off keeping his Zealots back to protect the Dragoons from the Zerglings, and slightly careless micro by BestGod here. Meanwhile, Yarnak just sending a single Zergling in to slow the reinforcements down. So the game has evened up a little bit now. July's Mutalisk being offset by the Corsairs, and now definitely air superiority lies with the OGN team. STX not badly positioned. They've managed to kill the blockade. July is now taking his natural expo just outside his main, and I think they'll be in a decent position to defend this. Loads of Zerglings down now. BestGod once again coming in to raid Zeus coming into raid July's base, trying to take those overlords down, slow his production down, and July really, once he lost those Scourges. Meanwhile, attack from Yarnak. Yarnak on his own. Obviously, he's the only one with ground forces coming in at BestGod's base, trying to divert July's forces there. But now he's in trouble because his Mutalisks have taken damage from those Dragoons, and July's got superior Mutalisk force because they divided their air force up to try and take out July's overlords. Corsairs also being intercepted. Looks like at least 2 Corsairs getting taken out by BestGod's Dragoons, and really it's a battle of almost air versus ground. 3rd Corsair going down. BestGod takes out 3rd of Zeus's Corsairs. July definitely with the superior Mutalisk force on the ground, and they've got the superior ground force. Zerglings coming in to try and intercept those Dragoons, and really both teams trying to jockey for position, trying to use the unit mix to their advantage.